Wait, why would I not be recording?
That is true. The microphones with the off and off buttons. I hate them.
But they're important.
Yeah.
I think we drove his customers away. They got up and moved.
It's Wednesday.
They're like, we don't want to be near them. You'll have to switch yours on.
All right.
Give us a description of what we have here.
This is Feeding Chaos. It is our house saison leaf that I wound up bottle conditioning on the wild yeast strains that I've been developing over the past decade or so.
Nice.
So the first commercial sour beer I got to produce.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
So why is this cat called Chaos?
Yeah,
That's really the story.
Her sister is Zen.
Oh, gotcha.
Wow.
The yin and the yang.
Yes. Yes.
there we go. We should try that.
Well, let's take it. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Guys. Thanks for involving me in this.
Beers with Nigel is poured for you by Dire Oil Graphics, promotional products and design. They cover your brand bumper to bumper with graphic design, promo products, and print. See what Dire Oil Graphics can build for you at direoil.com. That's DYEROIL.com.
Welcome to Beers with Nigel. It's a show about beer.
And other stuff.
I'm Nigel. That's Nick over there.
I'm the other guy.
And welcome to the show, and a first time somebody bringing us some beer, well, in a long time.
Man, Courtney brought us beer a couple weeks ago.
That's true. He brought us. We got Tanner Vaughn in the house from Pathlight Brewing right here in what are we in OP?
This is no OP, right?
Shawnee.
Shawnee?
This is
Kansas.
still Shawnee.
Yep.
Oh.
Interesting. I didn't realize that. So, welcome to the show, man.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks.
You're going to have
Excited
to
to
hold
be
that
here.
a little closer to your face.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
The microphone. The microphone.
Yeah,
Nigel.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
microphone.
So this is the second of our live tour. We call it a tour. What would you call it?
I like beer tour.
This is that. Yeah.
Our KC Metropolitan Beer Tour. How's
So-
that? Does that sound good?
Is there an acronym for that?
Should we call it the Beer Trail?
No, I think that's already taken.
That's already taken.
I don't know what we should call it.
Why don't we put Alana on that?
What kind of vehicle did you put us in this week? It was like a Wendy's.
It was
not
the
a
Sonic,
Wendy's, it was the
Sonic
Sonic
commercial, which, by the way, I didn't go to the Sonic on the way, but I did get myself a styrofoam cup just so I could feel like I was in the picture.
No shit.
Yeah. I mean, look, I try to be semi-authentic some days.
Is that right? Some days.
Some days.
Some days. So Tanner, man, what's going on, man? Let's start with this. Tell us about you and tell us about your brewing chops.
Oh, well, this is my first professional gig. I just went ahead and opened a brewery.
Why not?
I have about 20 years in engineering, a background in physics mainly. My sister's actually a chemist, so all of this is kind of in my world. It's my wheelhouse. I can learn quickly in this world.
Right.
So, I guess about 2017, I was brewing a lot of sour beer, doing some spontaneous fermentation, had a cool ship in my basement, just being the weirdo I was. Engineering equipment and designing stuff to make my life easier. And then David Harris, my business partner, approached me about opening the brewery. Kind of went from there. We started experimenting in different beers, and I guess the real work didn't start until we got this place finished and built and put together, and started brewing and learning as quickly as I possibly could.
What was it a hard sell? Did he have to really convince you, or were you just game?
I'd actually been working on it for quite some time. My vision was drastically different than his, but a brewery is a brewery. And I think we did a beautiful job here. This is
No, it looks amazing.
It far exceeds anything I could have imagined.
I mean, sometimes what happens, when you're kind of in a strip center,
Yeah.
they can be kind of homogenized, I guess.
Right,
But no, I mean, this has its own character, and it fits, you know.
Yeah, we were lucky to start with a blank slate, and we did a lot of work that's unique to the building. So our windows are different color than everybody else's. This had tinted windows whenever we got here, so we tore all the windows out. We wanted it to look like new, and that's one of the reasons our landlord's been so generous to us is because
Cement truck, it's fine.
is they knew what they saw the potential that we had,
Right.
and they understood our knowledge and background, and were ready to work with us. And so I think we're kind of a cornerstone for this new complex, and it's continuing to grow. We're getting caterers in. We're getting more and more neat things added to this shopping center.
Right. So let's back up a little bit, because I know Nick probably was like, you had what in your basement?
Yeah.
You had a cool ship in your basement. First of all,
Yes.
I just assumed he built a boat.
close.
I had a 30-gallon stainless steel maple syrup bin that I bought out of Canada that I equipped with valves so that I could cool ship and store it wherever I wanted.
Explain to the folks what a cool ship is.
So a cool ship is
Explain it to the dummies, Mr. Engineer.
okay. It's in America we refer to it as method traditional, and in Belgium it would be referred to as lambic. And so what I was doing was a turbid mash. It was about 11-hour brew day, and I would have to do it in the middle of winter when it was below 40 and above freezing. And I would open the basement windows, and I would let the natural funk that 10 years of brewing sour beer in my basement and the natural air from outside infect the beer, put it into barrels, and to fill a barrel, it took 3 days.
That sounds like the same sexiness you get with cheese, right?
Yeah.
It's the funk that you like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking for that funk.
Well, in this beer, you can taste or you can smell a bit of that horse blanket or that barnyard.
Yep. Beers with Nigel. Yep. Yep. It's everywhere, bro.
If you walk back by later, I'll give you a sticker.
You still have stickers?
But,
We
well,
just-
I
we
didn't
just-
mail. I didn't mail them. So
We just had a walk by fan, new fan,
New
right
fan.
there.
New
yeah.
fan, yes.
You know, we're getting them one day at a time, one fan at a time,
that show name's already been taken.
one fan at a time, or one day at a time.
One day at a time.
Fans only. That's our next thing.
Little
We
twist.
keep talking about
Little
that.
twist. Do you do the same dances?
No.
Hey, I'm off topic. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So, what got you into brewing? I mean,
One of my buddies, we were all into craft beer. Well, as much as you can be in craft beer 14 years ago.
right?
You know,
what
I
was
mean,
that? Right?
yeah.
What were you drinking back then? What really got you into say, oh, this is really good, as opposed to the macro?
Saison Brett was one of those that was just like an eye opener. When I found Saison, that was it for me.
So
And then Lambic. When I found Lambic, I mean, I've been to Belgium twice now. I used to just save up vacation time and money just to go to Belgium and do nothing but drink Lambic and eat
awesome.
cheese and bread and like all
That's
the good charcuterie.
fantastic.
No,
that's great.
Yeah. I saved up my vacation money just to go to Belgium and drink beer and
So
eat charcuterie.
so your
Yeah.
craft beer entry was just some really good shit. It sounds like.
well, yeah, definitely like the traditional English ales. That's what I really cut my teeth on. I have a dark mild in my pocket that I'm just waiting to get out. I loved ESBs. I loved studying all the English porters, brown porters. I liked session beers. I like to drink, but I don't like getting drunk.
Right.
So session beers were really one of my things.
Nice. Nothing wrong with a session beer.
Nothing
Nick.
wrong with session beer.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we tend to. I think it's purely by chance, or I blame you. We tend to get a lot of the heavy hitters on this show when we drink.
I
but
like to blame Kenny, my buddy from Oklahoma, who sends me all these damn Prairie OKC beers.
Oh, wow.
We do have the mystery bag here, so he fussed at me last time when we did Courtney.
well, he went on
Because
the road without
And I forgot
the mystery bag,
I totally forgot. Hell, I didn't bring the camera, so there's that.
which we're not recrecording video this time either.
No. So
And
this,
that's just 'cause we're lazy.
this is the mystery beer bag right here.
All right.
There was we haven't got the real story where the bag came from, but it was left on my house and it's never
I think
left.
it's implied.
It's implied it was stolen.
Yeah. Come on.
It doesn't have
It
a.
was inherited.
Yeah, it was inherited. So, yeah, we'll break this open in a few minutes. Who knows what's in there? Because I just went into the fridge and grabbed some things I knew we hadn't had. So you can be surprised.
So there was intention this time.
No.
No.
I'm like,
So-
I haven't had that one.
You said you've got a dark mild in your pocket.
Yeah.
All right. Do we get breaking news on this podcast? Do we know when when are you
When
going to whip it out?
Actually, strangely enough, I have a friend from. I used to work at Honeywell, so I have a friend from Honeywell that he's gonna have his wedding here now.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So, and he was asking me, he's like, "Can you brew the brown or the dark mild?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been wanting to get the dark mild. And it's the right time of the year to launch the dark mild. So October timeframe, start looking for a dark mild."
So how long you?
If he needs an officiant,
Yeah.
I can handle that.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, really?
I'm interwebs ordained.
www.ordained.com. So how long you and David known each other?
I think we met at Beer Tasting KC when they did that first Royals game together. So was that 2016, something like that?
So not very long ago.
No. I mean, we didn't know each other that long before we really started like hanging out and just drinking beer every once in a while. Him and I live real close to each other, and then there was our third business partner was also in the area, and then another close friend, and so we all wound up drinking beers together.
So at what point after if you guys met did you start talking brewery?
So he had always been talking about it. I had always been talking about it, but we had never talked about it together. And I had a golden cherry sour that I had cool shipped, allowed the funk to kick in, and then spiked it with the Saccharomycin to finish it out. And it had set in a fermenter for approximately a year, and then I put 2 pounds per gallon of that golden cherries on it. I bottled it up. He took one drink of that and was like, "So you want to open a brewery?"
I'm in love.
You're in love again? Oh my gosh!
It was a good beer. It was
That beer sounds great.
Yeah, it sounds
beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah, I love that one.
So
I think it's all gone though.
wow.
Yeah.
So you obviously love the wilds.
I do.
What
Yeah.
you kind of talked about ESBs and British styles.
Yeah.
What else? Let's talk about maybe what's on the menu now that you're like, that one really was.
So it is a little saison heavy at the moment. Leaf, which is Flemish for loved one, which is my Belgian style saison. We have red hair, which is a French saison spiked with a souring yeast to add a little tartness and raspberries. That's kind of my world. I love the Belgian beers. Unfortunately, in this day and age, hazy beers is the craze.
Right.
I don't particularly drink hoppy beers, so I've found the research of them to be to be the draw to them, to perfect the style and the art. To make hazy beer is not easy. I'm ripping through chemistry books. I have torn apart my methodologies. I mean, I even have superstitions like if you turn a valve to the right versus the left, I'm afraid it'll drop haze. It's just
I love this mix.
Science and
superstition.
I can't say I've come across a superstitious brewer before.
Not like
we all have our little quirks.
I know that.
Quirks, yes. But I think we know a lot of mad scientist brewers.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think some of our favorites come from that science background. But that's funny.
Yeah.
Do you stand on one foot? Do you have to circle three times? Do you spit to the left?
Not anything too bad. I can't actually reveal all my secrets.
That, of course, would also be breaking the superstition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're crossing the line there. Please stop.
But the hazies really, I've taken a great passion into them, and I'm really learning hops and the profiles, and I've enjoyed that aspect of it. And then the rest of what we kind of brew is kind of German beer, lagers, and Kolsch. I love lager beer. I just absolutely love brewing and drinking lager.
Yeah, can't go wrong with a lager, man.
It's an art form.
Oh, it definitely is.
You know.
Yeah. Do you think that's the one that really just you have to master the art?
Yeah, I think.
Is it just because it's so simple? Like, you have to do it right?
It hides nothing.
Right. You can, if you screw it up, you screw it up.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, it hides nothing. So it's all process oriented, which process analysis is what I was kind of well known for in engineering. Is I would come into
Shocking.
an engineering area and analyze the process, break it down, tear it apart, rebuild it,
Right.
and save money. Then find flaws and everything else.
So that kind of fits right into, like, you know, you get a brew system, you got to set it up,
Yeah.
you've got to test it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just. It's not like going to the car dealership and it's all ready to rock.
Yeah, no.
What was that process like for you, jumping from being a home brewer to, how big's the system here? What, 7 barrel?
5 barrel.
5 barrel?
5 barrel. We have 40 barrels worth of fermentation, so 4 5 barrels and 2 10 barrels. It was interesting. ABE is the manufacturer,
Right.
and we had a representative come out and run us through a couple of brew cycles. So we ran through 2 beers, and then he was like, "Peace out later," and I'm like, "All right, I got this. It's cool." And I think it took a little bit of time for me to fill the system out and really learn what was going on. But once I got a feel for the system, then it was, and enough data, because we kept really good data, and so I could analyze data, realize where I was, and put it all back together and improve each and every time. And I think that's the one thing that I'm satisfied about with where we're at, because next week is our 1-year anniversary. I've improved a lot. I know that my skills, my processes have definitely improved.
Now, I would see you knocking about town, whether it be at Diametric and other places. What I'm sure you got some input. What was it like from the other brewers that you know around town, and how did they help you?
Well, Mac's been a good friend. He helped do some of the architectural drawings, and it's always good to run ideas, like, I don't know, random conversations with Mac, because you know how fast he talks. But like, there's little snippets of conversations of him and I that it affected me later on, not at the moment of the conversation, but like it kept sinking in, and it would change processes later on. I actually got to spend time at Torn Label and brew and can and learn cellaring processes with Travis, which I couldn't have done it without him. Absolutely could not have done it without him. There's quite a few other people that I've known throughout the community,
Right.
and always talk to and chat with. ABE also set me up with other brewers that own their systems.
Oh,
and
nice.
I was able to email back and forth with them and meet. So
Nice.
that helped.
It's mystery beer time.
Is it mystery beer time?
Yeah.
Ooh.
If I can get it open. Like I said, then I had an ice pack too in my freezer, so the beers are still cold.
Wow. Look at
Keep
you.
it classy, brown paper bag, What
That's
Hey,
not new in
that's
this
tough.
neighborhood.
I mean, we're starting a new trend: the craft beer in brown paper bags. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
And the aforementioned Prairie, Prairie OKC.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Spectrum.
What is that?
Sour ale with hibiscus, cinnamon, and chili. Chili peppers. Sorry about that. It's a little small print for this old guy. It's only 5.3, Tanner, so you're good.
Oh, cool.
You're good. Hey, and it says you're supposed to keep it cold, so good job.
Well, it's been cold. Yeah, transported cold just for you, Nick.
Wait a minute.
What's
You know
up?
what we forgot to do in the beginning?
What did we forget?
Junior. What were we drinking in the beginning?
Oh, did we not talk about?
We didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the.
Oh
Kolsch.
yeah, what were we drinking? You brought us out. Your
It was a Kolsch. So Sooner Kolsch is one of my favorites. David and I actually got to run through the Netherlands, Belgium, and then Germany together right before we opened. So September of 2019. But the last time anybody did anything.
Yeah.
And so Sooner Kolsch is my favorite Kolsch. And we wound up in a bar drinking it all night, and this beer terrified me, because if I didn't do it justice, then I would ruin the memory of that whole trip, And I think I did it justice. I think it's very much a Kolsch. It's
delicious.
Yeast forward, touch sweet, a little bit of hot profile. I think I can increase that yeast profile and a little bit on the hot profile, but I haven't brewed a Kolsch before, so that was my first attempt.
Take a whiff of that.
Delicious
right there.
beer.
Oh my God, that's just the nose on that is.
Well, that smells fantastic.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, how many times did I say that?
That's your favorite.
That's
word.
my favorite phrase.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. That's tasty.
Oh, that's nice. Nothing's like. Those ingredients scare me sometimes. When you say like chili peppers, I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, I feel like the spicy ones for me, and I like spicy stuff, but it's hit and miss with the beers.
Yeah,
and I think it's one of
very
those
subtle.
that you gotta hit it. You gotta hit that golf shot just right.
Yeah, because if it's too hot, I've got to send it to the throat. You know that, right?
Don't.
But cinnamon and chili is an interesting combination.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
the hibiscus totally changes the characteristics. It's almost like a Mexican sour, and then the hibiscus kicks in, and it's like floral.
Yeah, it's got a lot going on. It's got a lot going on. So your travels to these, to Germany and all those places.
Yeah.
Obviously, you love those beers. How did that affect your brewing style and what you wanted to do, and what you learned from that?
So one of the things that Dave and I set out on whenever we built this was we believe that you can train an audience. And I believe that brewers do and breweries do. Every brewery has a following, devout followers that are loyal to that brewery.
Right.
And so that's what we thought about is like what is us, and can we get those people in early enough and make enough money to keep the doors open, brew what we love, but also provide a little something for everybody else. And so, yeah, that's.
I mean, that's a different perspective than I've heard.
Yeah.
A little bit. I think we talk about that a lot. About that, you got to build that community around your brewery, and that's the craft beer world. But was it hard for you guys coming from? And I've always wondered this with a lot of the turned pro brewers that we've met. Was it hard to build that following? I mean, because you're used to your 5 or 15 friends, right? That you all hang out in your garage or basement and drink, and then all of a sudden you're like, look, I need to have about 150 people regularly coming in.
So one of our most popular beers, I cannot brew this beer faster than I can, or as fast as people consume it, is my amber lager, which I spent years on the East Coast and chugging Yingling at business meetings during lunch. It's one of my favorite beers, and I modeled that beer a lot after Yingling, and we got a crowd that absolutely loves that beer. We also have an older community here. Used to, when early days of COVID, at noon, when we opened up, there was a retirement crowd that would be here pounding lagers, and they loved it, and I loved having them. So when we saw the community actually consuming the beers that we were most proud of and that we put the most energy into, it reassured us that we were on the right path and to continue chasing what we were passionate about.
I'm just always curious about that because starting a business is always hard because you have to be production, you have to be marketing, you have to be everything. So you're putting so much effort and time into brewing, right? I just wonder how hard is that to pay attention to. We got to get people in these doors too.
Well,
or is it just look, it's beer, people show up.
I got a mortgage to pay. That's number one. I walked away from a career in engineering where I would have retired in the next 10 to 15 years. That's always on my mind. I have a lot of humility when it comes to paying the bills. It's like, no, you like that? Okay, I'll brew that. I will brew that for you.
Yeah.
But I think I always try to incorporate my passion into what seems to be popular, what people seem to want. The red hair, which I used a Saccharomycin that puts off lactic acid for an added additional tartness. So it truly is a saison. The raspberry's not overpowering, so it's not a heavily fruited beer, but it's somewhere in that middle ground of traditional saison and what people are seeking out as far as high beer. So it's a compromise.
Yeah.
Always a compromise.
Compromise.
Always a
So what about the Pathlight name? Where did that come from? Where did that originate?
Dave and I were talking about Star Wars.
No shit.
Yeah, no shit.
Yes.
There's little hidden nerd stuff all throughout this place. We are Star Wars fans. I have on my kegerator. I have Hops Jedi as the our Tanner Vaughn Hops Jedi on my kegerator. One of my friends made it for me. And Dave and I were talking about that, and it wound up to the Light the Path. And
So there's
Pathlight.
there's no hidden. That's the story. It's just,
that's the story. Two nerds sitting around drinking beer, talking about beer and Star Wars.
I feel like there needs to be a lightsaber lager.
I mean, hello. I'm sure.
Okay, well, I don't have. Somebody's going to beat me to that now.
I know. It's probably already on a tap. What do you bet?
Yeah,
I put money on that one.
We should have a Star Wars movie night.
There you go.
we should. We do have a projector. We're working on getting a better projector, but yeah, we can have a Star Wars movie night.
Well, okay. Well, since there's no story behind the name, how about the logo?
The logo. Well, I mean,
I'm gonna have to talk about.
It's a lantern.
I'm giving you the questions I'm gonna ask you when I.
Do you want me to break
shoot you.
out the 7 pages of mathematics that defines what the logo is?
Okay.
Yes, please.
It's not here. It's at home. So it's actually a lantern with a willy glass inside. The flame.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's a willy glass. Yeah.
And I'm just not noticing that.
Yeah, until you said it, I didn't get it.
I really didn't notice that. Yeah.
The flame is based off of the angles of the French curve, and the mathematics is a couple of pages long.
Or it could be a drop of beer.
Yeah, it could be. It's a flame. It's the light.
I like it. Well, see, that had more of a story to it, now, didn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
than just the name, so.
Well, good job prepping him for later.
I hope. Well, he's going to answer the same anyway, right?
yeah.
Well, like from a sort of graphics guy, it's a great logo. It's nice and clean.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we wanted. We wanted something clean, something recognizable.
Yeah.
I needed
Easily
something I could
identifiable.
tattoo on me eventually.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah, I have not stopped. I mean, if you want to know what it takes to build a brewery, just give up a year of your life.
And just add a pandemic to it, right?
Yeah, well, that only. I don't know if that made it worse or better. I don't know.
Well, and that's the next big question, though, right? I mean, you opened
Yes.
as the sky was falling or had
Had
fallen
been
already.
fallen, I mean,
it had
yes.
fallen
Yeah.
already.
Yes.
So, I mean, what's that process like? I'm sure you had at least internally the debates of, do we, don't we?
It was too far. I mean, construction was about 2 weeks away from being completed, and I had beer in fermenters when they shut the world down.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
What do you do, right?
At that point, you gotta sell.
April 8th was my first brew day. And I
Wow.
think it was middle of March whenever,
That's what, March 15?
Yeah, something like that. 10th.
It was
Yeah.
right before St. Pat's because we didn't
Yeah,
have St.
right,
Pat's
yeah.
that year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, brewing equipment was installed. It's too late. You just got to go.
What was? I mean, obviously, I live on the other side of the state line. So, what was Kansas? Was it?
We were very
Were the
fortunate.
rules hard to move around and figure out how to do it?
No. Honestly, I think Shawnee in particular was very on top of it. We knew what to expect. They were giving lots of information. We were 50% capacity, which is fine. We had 6 feet between each table. Perfectly fine. It allowed us to actually have people in here. We had a cleaning crew coming through, and once we separated everything, a lot of people came in here because I think we had the space. And in this bay door that opens up all summer long, it might have been 90 degrees, but we had all the bay doors open because you're sitting outside all of a sudden.
Right.
You're in an outdoor space, you're in the shade, but you're drinking beer.
Right.
And I think that those little combinations is what made it easier for us.
I mean, hell,
People felt comfortable
yeah.
here. You know?
I came in the middle of it, because when you guys opened, I'm like, well, I got to get over there.
Yeah.
and there were a bunch of people here.
Yeah.
I mean,
And everybody was pretty respectful,
Yeah.
and I think we spaced it out, and we did the best that we could. We preached cleanliness. There's lots of white walls, so it's easy to see when something isn't clean.
And I think we talk about this a lot of times, the whole together we can thing. That at least expose a lot of people who may not want to come out.
Yes,
to get some different some beers.
On the Missouri side, that was really great for those guys.
And then once they got some Kansas breweries involved too, I think it was.
Well, the Missouri side shut down a lot more than the Kansas side did.
Yeah.
And so I understand they had a hard time.
But it took, 2 or 3 rounds of that before they were able to figure out a rule to get the Kansas beers involved.
Well, I don't know what Mac did, and we talked about this with Courtney, but he made that happen. All of a sudden, then it just, then you had, brewers from Wichita and Lawrence and, Shawnee and, everybody was bringing beers, and it was like, this is great. We talk about this a lot, how, we've talked to other people around the country where, we didn't have any casualties brewery-wise during the pandemic.
True.
I mean, which is really a testament to our beer drinkers, because I bought a shit ton of beer last year, man.
Good. You are still reaping the rewards of those purchases.
You know what it is? It's beer karma. It's real.
It is a real thing. Available soon.
Yeah, one of these days, right?
Tony, we're waiting on you.
We are waiting on Tony.
But
I know this beer is. I'm surprised. It's different, and it's not spicy, which I like.
Are you anti the spicy drinks?
People think I'm kidding when I have a sensitive throat. I do. Damn it.
I'm just editing all the jokes.
I'm
not really. It's not that I don't believe you. I'm just editing.
So what's in store for the first anniversary? You've made it.
First barrel-aged sour beer.
Really?
I have Foeder Saison coming out. So that's I was trying to get a few more ready, but it is what it is. I only have so much time. They forced me to take a vacation. A couple of weeks ago, so I tried to get all of that done. So it was 3 or 4 weeks, 70+ hour weeks without a day off to get all the sour beer packaged, but I got it.
Nice.
So the Saison is very lovely right now. We tested it yesterday. I think it's going to be ready for our first year anniversary. We're going to add it into our beer dinner. We have a beer dinner the week of.
Nice. Tell us about that.
So there's a caterer that just moved into our complex, or into the shopping center, called Craven at KC. They do all of our snack menus, and they are some crazy wild chefs. We've been working through beer and food pairings, and so we're doing I think a 5-course dinner with beer and food, Tuesday the 15th.
That sounds like fun.
Can people get tickets if they're in the area and listening?
I believe they're still available. We may increase capacity if we need to.
Well, let's tell them where they can go, just in case.
Oh. I brew the beer.
Go to pathlight.com. Figure it out.
Yes, if you go to any of our social media, you should be able to find it. I believe the tickets are available for purchase at pathlightbrewing.com.
Okay. So, you've got this 5-barrel system. You're a year in. How are you capacity-wise? We talk about the constraints of maybe, like Tony at wind shift and, you to the
kettle out
some of these places that, start out with a smaller system and then a year later like, fuck, I need to get bigger. Where are you?
I think the 5 is a good system for us at this point in time. I don't know if that will always be the case. We're adding a 10-barrel fermenter, so that'll give us 50 barrels worth of fermentation capacity, plus 5-barrel bright and a 10-barrel bright, and that's not uncommon to have most of the brights and most of the or both brights and most of the fermenters full.
So you think you're in a good position?
We're right now, we're doing a little bit of distribution into Missouri. But it's really just like a handful of sixtels a week, so 3 to 4 sixtels a week, and everything else is selling out of the tap room. What surprised me is cans are took a plummet after the world got opened back up.
Oh, like to
Yeah,
goes?
I wondered about that.
Yeah, we sold a lot of cans. We have a really good canning line, and that's one of the pieces of equipment we felt we needed to invest in early on before the pandemic, and we're really glad during the pandemic we had invested in that. And so now people are coming out and drinking, not getting beer to go as much.
Do you think that's kind of an overcorrection? Like we're all so excited to finally get out of our houses and be doing some normal things. Do you think distribution's going to grow?
I think distribution definitely, because we're definitely focusing on high-end restaurants, good craft beer bars. I think we're in some really great locations right now, and we're getting more and more. I think we sent a keg over to Dotson's this week. John over at Beer Station, I'm always talking to him, trying to get beers over to them. Yeah. But as Missouri opens up more and more, we expect to see more going over that direction.
Was that the plan originally going in? You were going to distribute?
Small amounts. Oak and Steel also carries us quite a bit because he does a really good job about keeping local beers on.
Yeah.
So it's not how we plan on paying the bills. It's how we plan on getting our name out.
Yeah. You ought to talk to Iron Kettle over there in Grand Valley.
Okay.
Because he has 12 of his own, but 6 taps are for local. And he's really searching for.
And he's making a big deal, big intentional point to try to go out and get Casey area brews.
Yeah, definitely. So, I know Velo's Garage just started carrying us too.
Oh, cool.
Which north of the river, that there's not a lot of craft beer.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially it's cool now that the guys who are, it's cool to go and see. Pathlight beer someplace else besides the brewery. I mean, when Diametric started doing it, of all my friends that own breweries, they were the first ones, and I was like, oh shit, it was beer. It was beer of the month at Conrad's in downtown Lee Summit. I was like, TD tossing. I'm like, that's pretty cool,
Well, that's one of the reasons to go to Oak and Steel all the time is because he always has Kansas City craft beer, and I get to try what everybody else is doing without hitting a bunch of different breweries.
Yeah. And he even does some stuff in St. Louis.
Does he? Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, I like that. I like that concept of.
And I love supporting St. Louis guys too. I mean, some of those guys are the reason I'm brewing beer.
Don't get him started on St. Louis.
I'm fine with St. Louis.
St. Louis Cards fans.
It's the Cardinals fans. Come on.
I'm just talking about the St. Louis Brewers. Just the Brewers.
I feel like someday Danner's going to come after me.
Who is?
Danner.
Danner's fine. He's more of a he's a Royals fan.
I think he gets the Cardinals thing.
He probably hates them too.
But look, he's got those St. Louis overlords.
Another mystery beer?
Always.
I don't know what it. Let's see what this is. It's a shorty.
No.
I don't want to ruin my brown paper bags with that ice thing. There you go. Oh, look at that.
High Noon.
Straight from
Mac Brewing.
Yep. West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Well, okay. we went low ball hitter last time.
Yeah.
Junior, we're at a 19.6%.
No shit. You're kidding me. No way.
Mac Brewing's High Noon.
What is that?
Mac, you don't tell me what it is.
There's words on the side of it.
Well, there's a government warning.
Well.
And he tells us about his brewing company in West Philly.
We're going to have to Google that, apparently. Or untap it. Well,
I feel like this could be a dangerous one-hand opener.
That could be interesting. You want me to...
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good job doing it right by the computer.
Look, if you're not living dangerously.
that's pretty dangerous.
So
LIVIN.
I around this neighborhood quite a bit. I've not been to Mac, though.
Well, he doesn't have he was on a couple episodes ago, and he has the beer and has the brand, but doesn't have a location yet.
Oh.
So he's distributing. He's in stores up there. Well, it's probably just
it's recarbonate or it's re-fermenting.
It's probably not your fault.
I appreciate your support.
I mean, you fucked up some pours, but I want to say that was not the one.
I'm gonna let it sit a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, Junior, it's I'm surprised there's no name on there. But then again, he did send us, so he sent us some beer, which is very nice of him.
Yeah.
Because beer karma is real. But he sent us 3 4-packs. 4-pack of that, a 4-pack of his 10% IPA, and a 4-pack of beer with no labels.
It's his own mystery beer.
Yeah, and they were mystery beers. We had one last week on we had on the last episode, didn't we?
Let's just take a second, Nigel. How good was that IPA?
Oh, it was great. And it's funny because it's just his IPA. It doesn't say double, doesn't imperial. It just says IPA. And he's
is he brewing in Johnson County? How many times I've heard people walk in, I don't like IPAs. Oh, you got a double that's 9%. I'll take that.
Yes.
Right.
You saw the highest ABV and go, that's mine.
There's some merit to that system. I mean, I do it sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of that. But I think more now.
Sometimes the mood hits you. You gotta.
I'm definitely, in the Kolsch, Pils, Lager. That's what I'm going to go for. Then I'll jump to a stout or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I drive a 38-year-old vehicle sitting over there.
Actually,
So
I was
usually
noticing
drink
that truck
low
earlier.
ABV stuff.
Yeah, that's a beautiful.
She's
beautiful
questionable at
truck.
best.
What is that? A Chevy?
Yeah, it's a 83 C10 with a 5.7 drop.
Nice. Yeah, you got to be careful when you're pulling into driveways and shit.
I'm building a motor for it at home right now, so it's about to have 400 horsepower in it.
No shit.
Yeah.
Because putting all of his nerd skills to use at the brewery is not enough.
Are you a musician?
No, not.
Okay, surprisingly not.
There's
I
something
had
he
a
decided
severe
not
head
to do.
injury at 8, and I stopped being able to play piano.
Okay.
I feel like we're gonna need some follow-ups.
I'm like, where's the correlation?
I spent several years playing piano, and then I wound up working cows with my dad, and he wasn't paying attention, and I suffered a head injury, and ever since then I hadn't been able to play.
Gotcha. So I've cracked the code for High Noon. It's a barley wine.
Oh.
It's an English barley wine. It looks like an English barley wine. I'll be curious to see what it's pretty frothy though, isn't it?
It may be an old ale now.
You think it's an old ale?
Do you know what an old ale versus a barley wine is?
It's just an aged barley wine.
Old ale is acceptable to have Brett in.
It definitely smells the part.
Yeah.
I think this may be only our second barley wine of the show.
It's not bad.
No.
No.
Not pleasant.
And it doesn't. I don't get 19% out of that.
No.
You could come up missing, drink one of those.
Yeah.
You don't feel the
Time
swing.
travel.
Somebody light the path, please.
Hang on.
There you go. So what's next for you guys? I mean, year 2. You've obviously you went through the gauntlet of year 1, obviously.
Yeah.
Now it's.
Is it breathe easy now?
Yeah.
No. David and I both are very aggressive in this type of situation. So I think that's one of the reasons the partnership is what it is we're not satisfied with this. It's what's the next step? And I have to lean on him to understand the financing and where we're at business-wise to see what kind of growth we can do without taking on more debt, without overextending ourselves or becoming vulnerable.
Right.
And my job is to sit here and find out what people want to drink and continue to improve beers and get more beer into the consumer's hands.
So what's been the reception like? Obviously, you're not in. It's not an obvious location for a brewery. You've got apartments. You've got residential. What's the reception been like from this part of town?
It's every week somebody's like, I didn't know you were here.
It sounds like wind shift.
Yeah, every week.
2 years. How long you been here? 2 years.
That is a weird location in and of itself.
And I think again it bodes well.
Well, it's a testament to what he's doing.
And it's a testament, you guys as well.
Yeah.
to if you brew it, they will come. If you
Yeah.
brew well,
they'll come back.
They'll come back.
Yeah.
I think the same can be said for Diametric.
Yeah.
And there's odd
Yeah.
location.
Because obviously
Yeah.
this. Well, at least you can actually drive by and see your place, right?
Yeah, so we are on 75th and Neiman, which is a massive crossroad.
Right.
We're less than a mile off of 35.
Yeah. So
we're very accessible.
So, at least you have the benefit of, you're a destination, but you're also, you can be seen if somebody like, oh, there's a brewery right there.
We're also becoming part of the Johnson County Ale Trail.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
I mean, we do have more breweries in this area now, and we see that migration coming through on weekends quite regularly, where it's either north traveling south or south traveling north.
Oh, we were happy when we went to a service early, and I was like, oh, Pathlight's like 3 minutes away.
Yeah.
I was
Just
like,
a few minutes away.
You got
and they're
transport.
open.
and they're open.
And you got Limitless and then
yeah.
Lost Evenings right here. I mean, it's in Brew Lab, just
Yeah.
down in OP.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we're all trying to do our best and produce top level beers in our palates, and I think that's attracting larger and larger crowds.
Yeah.
Is there anything you learned during while you were just fighting to keep going, right? Is there anything you learned that you're like, yeah, I can do this, or I can do this better than I thought?
Brew IPAs. I think I brewed 5 IPAs before I opened a brewery.
Really?
Yeah.
That just wasn't your thing.
No, hops aren't.
All right, put a number on it now. How many have you done now?
I'll say somewhere in the 70 range.
Wow.
But, I'm cracking up, though. He said Hobbs, but, you notice his hat?
Uh-huh. I did.
Another support local. Kansas
shout
Hopco.
out to Kansas Hopco. So I'm
And
guessing
how cool is that? Like most people probably don't know that,
Yeah.
30 minutes away, 40 minutes away
yeah,
is a hop farm.
And he's looking at opening a brewery right now
Yep.
in a
Yeah.
small little
They just
tasting
announced
room.
that.
he was on a couple episodes ago, and
Yeah.
he actually
Yeah, right.
announced it on our episode, didn't he? We
Look,
like to break the
Look,
news.
there's a reason I asked you for breaking news. Like that's our thing.
Well, there's nothing breaking yet. I'll
so
let y'all
I'm
know.
guessing you have the hat, so you probably used rice burner. Just went by there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a rice burner. That's what's just. I used to have an Acura. You don't remember that term?
I have heard
Was that
the
racist?
term. Not sure if that's still in our lexicon in 2021.
Oh, well, sorry. If I offended anybody, sorry. So
yeah, we have Paddock Pale Ale is it was my collaboration with Torn Label early on. It was just based off of some malt that both Travis and I liked, and I wanted to use Casey Hopco. So Paddock is a term used in racing. It's where the cars basically park or stop or get worked on. So we're actually a Formula One bar. So on Sunday mornings, like last Sunday, I was here at 6:45 helping getting ready for the Formula One race.
really,
We're all drinking beer at 7 a.m., eating some Mr. D's donuts, drinking some
I
coffee.
had no idea that was a thing in
know-
the Midwest.
well, I know there's you got Strange Days. There was soccer.
Yeah, soccer.
You go down and
Right, that doesn't
KC
surprise
beer.
me.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, so if you drive by here on Sunday, you're going to see like high-end Mercedes, Porsches, race cars,
No shit.
and everybody's in here chilling out, drinking beer, watching Formula One.
I would have expected maybe if he said NASCAR,
Okay.
Yeah.
but Formula One kind of surprises me. I mean, not
Yeah.
but
Well,
surprised, but
David is the one that drug me into Formula One. So when we were in Belgium together, we actually went to a race in Spa and got to see a live Formula One. He's been to a couple of others, and we're actually heading down to Austin for this year's race. And Travis from Torn Label's going as well. So we're all going to try to meet up. I'm doing another Formula One inspired beer, so we'll see what happens.
Who knew?
Do you have to drink it fast?
Yeah,
My dad joke game.
it's
comes
on
strong.
point. On point.
There you go.
So how do you tell? I'm curious. How do you get people to know that you're a Formula One bar? I've never known that, and I've been following you guys since day one.
So let's see. We posted on social media quite a bit.
Okay.
We were trying to build Facebook events for it. It didn't take off. We got a few people here and there, and then all of a sudden, Dave and I are sitting here one Sunday morning at 7 a.m. watching a race. Our friend Adam and his wife Karen walk in, sit down. He orders the ESB in a British accent, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And I'm like, how's that ESB treating you? And he's like, it's not as watery as I'm used to. And I'm like, okay, I'll take that.
Every once in a while, Nigel will have the accent slip out. Not often.
It's very intentional when I do it.
Well, he spent the race just texting people, and so we went from the 4 of us to about 20 in the next week, and now we're in the 30 to 40 range.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't know there was a.
Listen, if you are in the KC area,
right,
you love Formula One, Pathlight Brewing, that's the place for you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing, man.
We got Mr. D's Donuts right next door. Grab some donuts, grab some coffee, come chill out, come hang out with us.
Donuts and beer. It sounds like
That sounds amazing.
I know. I got to do something with them.
I mean, I don't know anything about racing. Donuts and beer?
Are you going to do a donut beer with them?
I would love to. I got to do something. They're just such an iconic place. And if you haven't had their donuts, they are really some of the best in town.
Really?
Yeah.
We may need to grab some.
We have to come on a Sunday.
Yeah, we have to come on Sunday.
You got to get there early. They sell out quick.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
I feel like donut beers are difficult because it can, I've had some that are just way too over the top, way too sweet.
Yeah, I want to try to do some small system with it. I still have homebrew systems, so I can still do 10-gallon batches.
Yeah.
I thought it was something fun. The milk stout is actually really good. I was figuring if I could find a way to incorporate the donuts into the milk stout, I think that would be fun too.
I was asking, because I'm curious, the scaling portion when you go from home to pro, you go from 10 gallons.
Yeah.
Is that? And I mean, you're a math nerd, so you like that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But I mean, how difficult is that to think about? To figure out how to do it and do it well from making 5 or 10 gallons to a big barrel system.
Honestly, I think it's not so much the mathematics; it's just understanding profiles. So I'm just capable of storing flavor information in my head, and through the first brews, I was able to collect enough data to then formulate a plan for each additional brew. So every time one of my old recipes didn't work out 100%, I understood where it didn't, and then I was able to change from there. But I don't know. I feel Can I honestly say that the first year of this has just been me scrambling, trying to keep up, and I don't necessarily know everything that I did.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair.
I'm not surprised.
That's totally fair. I just am always curious about that. And I mean, I like to cook, so I know a little bit about changing your recipe based on quantity. But that always seems to me, and maybe it's just because I don't know anything about brewing, but it always seems to me like such a huge shift to go from I'm making this much beer, and I know we're no video, so nobody can see my hands, but I'm making beer that fits on a rack above my washing machine to I'm making beer in an 800 square foot brewery room.
I think the biggest alteration to me, the biggest change, it wasn't necessarily the malts itself. It was the functionality of the yeast. Because you're taking yeast out of its natural environment, which is these large conical fermenters that they've developed over years. Because we've had these since post-World War II. And so yeast has grown in this environment. And you take it as a home brewer, and it does one thing. You put it in its natural environment, it lives a entirely different life. And so understanding yeast was my biggest
that's
hurdle.
Interesting to me. As somebody who knows nothing.
That's like if you were living in St. Louis, you'd be a different person.
Lottie.
Exactly. It's a great analogy.
I can't wear red.
You can't what?
I can't wear red.
You can't wear red?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
One of my greatest moments as an uncle, my niece, I remember her telling me one time she saw a cardinal outside in her backyard, and because of me, she decided to instantly hate it. And I'm like, well, I don't necessarily mean the animals, but at the same time, I did well. There you go. That made up for the earlier.
Yeah, and that's
I've been
probably
trying
the
to
best.
avoid them. Should I just
Yeah,
let
you're
it
supposed
go?
to let
Oh,
let it
yeah.
Did we not say that?
I thought we covered the rules.
You said it was.
I hadn't
you
burped
know.
like that in several episodes.
yeah, we've been fancy
Oh, we
the
got
last few episodes.
A well-carbonated beer.
Well, yeah, and we've got one more mystery beer too.
Well, I better finish the other mystery beer.
Okay.
Is there? I know we talked a little bit about what you want to brew for the anniversary, but is there anything else is there something else that you're excited about putting out soon?
So
I figure your brain is always.
Yeah, so I function heavily on the sour beer side. Johnny C's is also one of our more popular IPAs. Huge citrus forward. It's heavy citrus, Cascade, and Comet. And this building was Johnny C's Pizza for nearly 40 years before it was Pathlight. No shit. Yeah. So
Just say that in the mic.
You-
No
you-
shit. My jaw dropped for 40 years.
The
Nearly 40
veteran
years,
broadcasting
yeah.
guy forgot his mic.
I am not a veteran. I'm just
So the owners of Johnny C. Johnny C's was an icon in this location. It was St. Louis style pizza. Sorry.
All right, it's okay.
Thin
okay.
crust, provolone or Provel. Yeah.
yeah, Provel.
which
yeah.
isn't really cheese, but we'll talk about that later.
It's no.
It's like government cheese.
Yeah. And so they're still local, and so they come in all the time and got to see it whenever it was in build out and saw it finished, and they're great supporters, and they were really excited whenever we released a beer called Johnny C's.
That's awesome.
But it's to pay homage to where we're at. You know, I mean, we wouldn't be here if they weren't here first. So, but that's coming out anniversary weekend. It's always a big hit, and I think this batch is really good. I'm finally dialing some stuff in. What else is coming out? We got a tropical IPA that's coming out, I believe, on the Thursday. Yeah, that Thursday.
I haven't heard that term in a long time.
Tropical
IPA.
So I've been experimenting with a few. I've found a couple of hops I really like. I like pushing that big coconut characteristic in pineapple. So I think this one's going to do it. It's going to be 7.2, 7.3, something like that.
Nice.
So
I'm pretty much happy with any alcohol that includes pineapple.
Do you? Oh, you're a pineapple guy.
Well, you know my favorite rum is the
that,
plantation pineapple.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
That's some great rum. What we got?
We got Stone Cloud Brewing out of Oklahoma City.
Great brewery.
Ooh.
Trust your butcher. Yeah, that's true. You really should trust your butcher.
If you can find one.
So I have not had anything. by
Oklahoma
these.
style smoked Hellas.
Oh.
They're phenomenal. They kill it.
This one's lighter, just for you.
Okay.
So we went
Nice.
down, up,
We
and
went down
back.
to 4.5. We're down to 4.5. That was quality nat sound.
Yeah, that was. I do like this barley wine though.
So my assistant always wears a Stone Cloud shirt. He's from Oklahoma. I'm from Texas, so we often.
You're assistant brewer, really?
At the moment,
What part of Texas you from?
kind of central. I'm outside of Fort Worth by about an hour and 45 minutes.
Like west of Fort Worth?
Southwest, due southwest.
Like whereabouts?
Steamville, kind of.
Okay.
I grew up on about 2,000-acre cattle ranch.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is not a small ranch.
No, it's not a small one.
That area, it's not huge either.
I used to live in San Angelo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got a lot of family down
Yeah.
in San Angelo.
Yeah. I got a lot of
Yeah.
family in Texas, but San Angelo,
Okay.
yeah. I used to be a reporter. San Angelo.
Really?
Yeah,
You
man.
have the voice for it.
Got that face for radio.
Hey, that's my
So
life.
let's see what we got here.
That's beautiful.
Nose is great.
You really get that smoked.
Touch sweet caramel malts goes right into that smokiness, but it's not over the top.
Oh yeah, that's lovely.
I'm not always a fan of the smoked
But
beers,
it's
but this
super
hits-
super subtle.
this hits really nice.
I've told a lot of people always comment on smoked beers like it's too smoky. Growing up in Texas, everything had smoke in it. So there's not necessarily too smoky generally.
It's too smoky for you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's smoke to it. I like this.
That goes back to the we say this a lot, right? It may not be a bad beer, it just might not be your jam.
Yeah.
Truth.
That's really good.
Truth. Yeah, no, that's well executed beer right there.
Shout out to Kenny for sending me that. But no,
Kenny does good work.
If you ever, you know what?
His delivery system is good work.
Yeah, I'll be.
Is it the owner brewer? Or?
No, it's just a buddy of mine in Oklahoma City.
Okay,
and
okay.
He just sends me beer all the time.
Nice,
but I'm taking a trip, beer trip / family trip / whatever. Oklahoma City, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio at the end of the month. So,
okay.
I'll bring you some Stone Cloud.
Yeah,
They're just really good. And even shout out to Prairie OKC, because this is not regular Prairie. There's Prairie out of Krebs, Oklahoma. This is Prairie OKC, which is a totally separate brewery, and they do totally separate beers.
Yes,
and I'm going to call it. I think they're better than the mother brewery. They do a lot of things that the other brewery, they're focusing on the things they've done, bomb and all those things that are that are national now.
Yeah.
Whereas they're still doing, it's a micro in Oklahoma City.
Right. Is this still the same location that they had where it was American Solera in Prairie, or is it a different location?
Well, American Solera is in Tulsa, so
okay.
So
this is OKC.
Yeah, it's a whole other setup.
Okay.
So the reason they did it was because between Oklahoma City and Tulsa, which is 90 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't want to use a distributor to send the beer to Oklahoma City, so like we're just going to open another brewery. And so that's what they did. So
I just built another one.
Yeah. So. But they do really. I haven't had anything from.
But you say they're doing different stuff.
It's totally different than the regular Prairie. Absolutely, totally different. Which
it's been challenging to put sours and stouts in the same area.
Yeah,
I'm doing it right now, but I'm terrified of it.
Right, cross contamination.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that.
Well, the drinkers aren't scared. It's the brewer that's scared because you like to keep things clean.
Yeah. Well, it's the owners that are scared because it's their money. I have not had to dump a beer yet, and I'm like knocking on wood now. But
that's impressive.
I had one beer get infected due to equipment failure, and I was able to save it by putting it in barrels.
You just turned it into something else?
Yeah, it basically I was transferring a beer one day. And I tasted Brett, like medicinal cherry Brett, and I'm like, not my strain.
Yeah.
No, I know every characteristic my yeast strains throw. It's like, not my strain. This is something rogue. This is the second beer we brewed in that fermenter. And so I pulled it apart, and I spent all night, and I analyzed every weld, every single part of that fermenter, and I found an incomplete weld.
Really?
Really. And I sent it back in. I've had no problems. They re-welded it. I've had no problems with the fermenter since.
I keep telling you, most of brewing is keeping it clean.
It is. Yeah, no. And I mean, I'm way stringent, and people mock me for some of my processes, but I've only had one infected beer, and it was not my fault.
So when you reached out to the company, I bet they were like, "Oh my God."
It's a normal company response.
We
take no liability.
Well, that was probably the second or third response. The first one was, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You've obviously brewed on different systems. Mm-hmm. Some people go ABE. Some people go different brands. Some people get the shit from China or whatever.
Yeah.
You think there's a difference?
So... the systems from China have a tendency of being very manual. ABE has a lot of automation. I think some of the other ones are doing the very similar things. The automation makes it easier for a single person to do it. I design most of the functionality of this place to be done by 1.5 people. Which means it's been done by pretty much one person.
You and a child.
My assistant, he's here 2 days a week, which takes enough stress off of me to allow me to run parts of the business that I need to run while brewing is still being done. But I like my system. I wish there was a few more things that I could adjust. But for the most part, I think it's just learning your system, being comfortable on it.
So you don't think maybe different metals in different parts of the world make a difference?
I think we're all dealing with the same quality of stainless steel.
Okay.
I think that's all pretty well controlled now. If you look at, I'm sorry, I love TIG welding. Like, I've studied TIG welding. I'm about to start attempting it to work on my truck, but like, these guys are phenomenal at it. They're better than machines.
Really?
Like, if you look at 99% of the welds on my brew system, it's just immaculate. I don't know how they do it so well. And I know it's human beings doing it, not
Are
machines.
you sure?
Yeah, I mean, you can see the marks.
Maybe they're Jedis.
Yeah.
Maybe they are.
But yeah, no, I think what you're getting, because pretty much everything in the brewing industry is made in China anyways.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's just, do you want it modified to automation, or do you want it all manual?
Gotcha.
How long did it take you to I mean, did you feel comfortable right away, that first brew, or did it take you kind of a few
I'll let you know when I'm
cycles?
comfortable.
You know what? I love that answer.
I think he
As
said
a very anxious guy, I like that answer, and I hear you.
I brewed Tuesday, and I was still, like, yelling and cussing at it because I didn't know what it was doing.
Does it answer?
I generally refer to everything as in the female sense. I don't mean to be sexist in that. It's just the way I was raised. But yeah, there was lots of bitch act right.
Look, I know the etymology that's a female word, but I kind of feel like there's no gender to bitch.
It's kind of like dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It applies. It can apply to a
Rule-
lot of different
rule number
things.
2.
Yes.
Rule number 2. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Well, brother, it's been a pleasure having you on, man.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Haven't seen. I think I came last year and I saw you back there. You were brewing, I think, that day.
Yeah.
Or,
I think
or cleaning.
Same
probably
thing.
cleaning
Very
because
cleaning.
I rarely brew. I mostly clean.
You're just a glorified janitor.
I am. Yes.
Every once in a while gets to cook something.
Yeah. That's true. I like that.
So tell people where they can find you guys on the social medias.
So we're on Instagram and Facebook. I don't think we do Twitter.
You should be on Twitter.
Beer Twitter's for real.
Beer Twitter is great.
Is it?
Oh my God!
All right.
You get so much play. Are you doing the social?
No.
Tell them to get on Twitter. It's Beer Twitter's so great right now.
All right. I may have to force that. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Pathlight Brewing. Our website's pathlightbrewing.com. You can find us at 75th and Neiman. You can find our beers around town: Oak and Steel, Dotson's. Trying to think, Il Lazzarone right now. A handful of places. So
Cool.
we're trying to get out there. I know that a lot of people are on the Missouri side. So
Well, you're very well liked and known on the Missouri side for sure.
well, good.
You're getting a lot of love.
I appreciate that, and I'm very happy that we're brewing good enough beer that people enjoy. So.
He said good enough.
You know what? I like that.
I'd say it's above average.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate
Nick, where can they find us?
You can find us, the Beers with Nigel podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast apps. You can even, Nigel, you know what? Alexa.
We
Play
need to
the
try
Beers
that
with Nigel.
sometime. I've never actually tried it.
Oh, it's kind of glorious.
You do it?
Oh, yeah, it's glorious.
Really?
Yeah.
You said Alexa play the Beers
Alexa,
with Nigel
play the
podcast.
Beers with Nigel podcast. It doesn't last long. You know, like I can only listen to myself for so long.
You don't listen to the old episodes?
I listen once.
You listen once?
I listen once.
One time to the episode.
Look.
Why would you listen twice to the same episode?
That's what I'm saying. I don't listen twice.
You don't listen
once.
to podcasts more than once?
I listen
No,
to other.
you?
I'll re-listen to
Oh,
other
yeah,
people's
yeah,
podcasts.
yeah. But I listen to Master Brewers podcasts like continuously.
But I'm saying the same episode over and over.
Yeah. Because I'll pull out new information.
Because you're getting information.
Yeah.
This podcast has no information.
And then I go
One thing's good enough.
then I go download their research projects and read their research projects or their master's thesis or PhD thesis.
Do we need to put some Google Docs on our podcast site? What the fuck?
Seriously, what words are you and I gonna put into docs? Bitch, dick, beer, good, fantastic.
Oh, you're talking about keywords.
Old L
No,
versus
what other
Barley
words do we
Wine.
know? Don't die.
Beer. Thanks for listening, kids. This is Beers with Nigel. We'll see you on the next episode. I'm Nick, and that's Nigel. I'm lying. I just did that because I fucked it up a couple weeks ago.
Insert hit button here.
Edit. Drive safe, kids.
You've been listening to Beers with Nigel, a show about beer and other stuff, hosted by Nigel Woodbury and that other guy, Nick Parker. Beers with Nigel is poured for you by Dire Oil Graphics, providing bumper-to-bumper graphic design, promo products, and print services. Find them at direoil.com. Beers with Nigel is a proud member of the Fredcast Network and is available on all of your favorite podcast flavors. Find Beers with Nigel on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and ask Alexa to play the Beers with Nigel podcast.